Yo, 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 Will Reagan from Reagan Reefs and Reptiles. I'm a fat, funny looking guy, so maybe that'll give me some views. Say what? Nah. So this is a leg follow up video. I will be doing some reptile videos again here pretty quickly, probably either this week or next week. Gonna be cool, man. We got some venomous stuff to look at and talk about new venomous stuff we've gotten. Got some just ridiculous turtles that I don't want to tell you what they are right now, but they're dope. They're sick, awesome turtles. Some new tarantulas, a new scorpion. That's about it, really. Let's see. We rehomed the tegu. We had the giant tegu. We rehomed him. The star tortoise, the baby star tortoise that we are rehabbing, is doing well. He's getting better. He's not good enough yet to go to a new home, but he's doing well for us finally. Let's see what else. Oh, we're gonna be getting some new tortoises coming because we're gonna be putting something in the Tego enclosure. So I'm thinking ivory sulcatas maybe, but that's not set in stone. But I think that'd be pretty sick. So I'm thinking about that. Getting ready to pair up a pretty cool ball python pairing. It's gonna be well, I won't give it away, but it's clown combo stuff. Shooting for some Batman combo stuff, so it'll be cool. And when I put them together, I'll do a video about that. I don't want to spoil what it is, and it's not going to be anything like on the level of, Justin or Bob Vu or those guys. But for little hillbilly like me, it should be pretty tight. So enough of all that. Even though I could talk about that stuff all night, and sometimes I ramble on for a long time. So here is the leg follow-up. Basically, going to a wound clinic every 3 days, and now they're getting ready to send me to a new wound place that specializes in like infectious stuff, so bacteria. The regular wound clinic I've been going to, they can only give me oral antibiotics, unless I want to live in the hospital, which I don't, because I've got obviously wife, kids, reptiles to take care of. And I just, it's really would be difficult for me to live in a hospital. So this new doctor, they could actually give me like a pick line where I could give myself IV antibiotics throughout the day, but still be at home taking care of everything. So that's what's up. They were hoping that oral antibiotics would knock this out. I knew it wouldn't, man. I've been dealing with it long enough. I've taken plenty of rounds of oral antibiotics, and they just don't get deep enough. You got to keep, this is a pretty bad bacteria, and I mean, you got to really keep up the level of the antibiotic in your blood. It's got to be strong enough to kill it, and it's got to stay at that level long enough to kill it all. So with IV stuff, it's so much easier to do that. It's so much stronger, more powerful. But I'm not an RN, so I don't know how to necessarily stick an IV in my arm every day. So if they put a pick line, then I can just hook into that, drip. It shouldn't be too bad. But here's what the legs are looking like. I'm gonna flip the viewer around here. Anybody with squeamish stomachs who opened up this video to hear about what I had going on with reptiles, that's awesome. Thank you. You guys are the greatest. But thank everybody for watching the leg video as well. It's tough. I mean, it's been really hard. I've been dealing with this for like probably 5 years, and it's the biggest thing that led me to reduce my reef stuff down a lot and bump the reptile stuff up instead, just because the reef stuff is so much more difficult. It's obviously challenging as far as from a chemistry standpoint. It's all about water chemistry, stability, all that. I mean, that's the biggest thing with reef keeping, is really stability is the most important thing. There's a lot of things that are important, but stability is key. And to really do that, I would do a lot of water changes. I mean, I went more of a naturalistic approach typically, rather than having a lot of controllers and all that hooked up and all this automated stuff that can fail. Doesn't often or always fail, but it can. So I relied more on, water changes to keep everything. Obviously, I still was dosing in calcium and alkalinity and magnesium, but I was doing a lot of water changes, so I wasn't having to dose as much. But that's a lot of work. I mean, that's a lot of work hauling 5-gallon buckets. And you can get it down to a science. You can perfect the tools you have to make it happen. You can get it down to where you're basically, I guess, siphoning right into the drain instead of filling up buckets and carrying them. I would mix my water and have it in containers where I could just, basically have a hose and pump it right back in. So, I mean, everybody usually figures that out pretty quickly, that there's a lot easier way to do a water change than just the traditional. However, it still works. It's still a lot of work, and I just didn't have it in me for a while when the leg got so bad. Pray for me, and hopefully it'll get better before I either lose my leg or go bankrupt. So just pray for me. I really appreciate it. But here's what's I'm outside tonight, so this is where the leg's at right now. You can see it's horrible. It really, really friggin' sucks. It's so terrible. It's filling in a lot. It may not look like it, but it is filling in quite a bit. The catastrophic parts are getting shallower, but slowly. It's a slow process, and it really sucks. It's awful. It's so terrible. I really can't express how bad this is. The pain involved, all the time, really. I mean, it hurts all the time. But then when I go in for procedures, so that's it. It's no joke. Again, the wound clinic that I go to said it's the worst they've ever had. And I don't know that they've ever dealt with any kind of palytoxin before from coral, but they have dealt with some venom stuff. Around here where we live, we're in Virginia, South Central Virginia pretty much. So we have really just copperheads. So they've dealt with copperhead bites. We talked about that when I'm in there. They've dealt with black widow bites plenty of times. Brown recluse. We do have brown recluse, and they're bad news. Of course, if you get bit by them, they're bad. I've never been bitten by one, but my understanding is necrosis. Kind of like what this has done to me. So, I don't know that any toxin or venom is a whole lot worse than what this is, to be honest. I mean, it's pretty friggin' bad. I mean, there's some that I'm sure are worse that, because it could kill you, and it hasn't killed me, thank God. But as far as necrosis and the necrotic properties of the toxin, compared to some of the worst snake venom, it's pretty rough stuff. If you look at some brown recluse bites, they have to be pretty catastrophic to get to the level that this wound is at. It's out there. It is one of the 2 worst things I've ever had to deal with ever in my life. And you look at it, and of course, most people I'm sure are saying, "Well, God, what could be nearly that bad, other than getting your head amputated or something?" But anyway, now when I actually detoxed off of pain medicine back, it's been 15 years ago. That was horrible, and that was on par with this. I would say this is more physically painful, slightly more. Detoxing was pretty physically painful too, but with the detoxing, it was the mental, just the psychological trauma that's involved with that. Where you just feel like you got to run away from it and you can't get away from it. I don't know. It's just it's a horrible, horrible thing. So don't do any drugs. And it doesn't always have to start off. It can start off really innocent. Mine did. I started taking pain medicine prescribed to me by my gastroenterologist for ulcerative colitis. And it worked. It worked great. But back then, it just wasn't regulated the way it is now. So, you know, he could write me a prescription for 50 Vicodin and put 8 refills on them, and I could fill those some bitches every week. I mean, now, you know, you're not going to get a refill of a narcotic or an opiate like that if it hadn't been 28 days. I mean, you might get it a couple of days early, but you're not going to fill it every week. They really regulate it a lot. But that's how mine started off, legit from a doctor. And then one day after he'd been prescribing them to me for probably 2 years, I would say, he called me in and said he couldn't ever write them anymore. He had lost his license. He was having to go in front of the medical board. And I don't know what all happened to him, but I know he doesn't practice medicine anymore. So at that point, I turned to internet pharmacies, which were big back then. Again, that would have been around the year 98, 99, something like that. And internet pharmacies were big then. I mean, it was easy to go online, fill out a few forms, you know, get your medical records sent to them from your doctor. And if you'd ever been prescribed that medicine even one time, as long as they could see you had taken it before, they would re-prescribe it to you. And you could get several pharmacies going. I mean, I had 3 internet pharmacies going at one time. One in Mexico, one in Canada, one in the U.S. So, you know, I rolled like that for probably a couple of years until that kind of got regulated a lot and you couldn't do that anymore. And of course, at that point, I just started getting them from people, drug dealers, I would say. Not only drug dealers, I mean, but people, you know, from the streets. I'd ask anybody, you know, if they had some left from a surgery or whatever. I mean, I had to handle that before anything else in my life. It was awful. Ended up going on methadone, and that's what I detoxed from, was methadone, which was much worse than even detoxing from Vicodin and Percocet, because I did that too, and that took me about 3 days, and I was for the most part okay. The methadone, when I quit that cold turkey, I was sick for a month, literally a month. I mean, not joking, it was awful. I almost died about 4 times. They had to take me in and give me fluids by IV because I was so dehydrated. I was right at the edge of death. I mean, no joke. So that was horrible too. This is on par with as bad as that was. But anyway, be going to the new doctor November the 3rd. Pray for me, man. That's like about a week away. And hopefully they'll give me a PICC line and I'll be able to do IV antibiotics here however many times a day that I need, and as long as I need them. And we're going to get this thing nipped, get it done, get it gone, kill it. Oh, anyway, thank you for watching. I try to be a trooper and keep going, keep on going, man. Keep some videos going. So it'd be awesome if you guys watch my other videos and tell your friends to watch this one. If they like gross stuff or if they just want to support me, it's awesome. I appreciate it. Again, I'm a funny looking fat dude. When I start feeling a little bit better, maybe my comedy will come back around and I can really get stupid for you guys. But anyway, thanks so much for watching. God bless. Have a great night.